It's beautiful, it's ancient. There's really not much like it left on Earth.
We knew more about fossils dead for 65 million years than we do this creature swimming around in the oceans.
I think folks know about the spiral, they know about the shell, whether it's on their mantle, in art, or in architecture, or mathematics, but few know about the living animal.
The Save the Nautilus team is in Fiji on an expedition. We're hoping to find some nautilus in a place that we've never found them before.
Every year we've been going somewhere else to try and protect nautiluses, learn more about them, and share the nautilus story.
Nautilus live really far down, they're really hard to research, but I think if we get lucky we could find something really incredible.
I can make a square door that fits in here. Otherwise, I'll do this design. You can have one hole here, one hole here.
They live as deep as 700 meters in some locations, and 200 to 300 meters or around 1,000 feet is kind of the average depth of the nautilus. It's way too deep for divers to go. So the only way for us to survey their populations is to do similar work to what fishermen do to catch them.
So you can put entry whichever way you want it. Either here, on this side, or you want on four sides.
My name is Dr. Gregory Berard, and I'm a conservation biologist with Save the Nautilus. So the traps are 1 meter cubed or 3 feet, and they're made out of steel rebar. This gives them some good rigidity, so when we toss them down 1,000 feet, they'll land and they won't break.
So tomorrow night these will be in the water?
Tomorrow night. You can have it tomorrow night.
Each morning we'll pull them up after they sit overnight, and we bait it with the Nautilus's favorite food, which is raw chicken necks.
They have never, as I could understand it, come up to depths that a scuba diver could safely dive. These things in Fiji probably never come up above 500 feet. These are really deep water animals. I'm Peter Ward, University of Washington, Department of Biology and Department of Earth and Space Sciences. Yeah, I got really intrigued by these creatures when I was a little boy, and I was lucky enough a long time ago, 1975, to be sent out to the far Pacific and study them. I always loved fossils, and the fossils I loved were cephalopods. And so there are so many fossil cephalopods. There's only one left that has the same shell pattern, and that's Nautilus. And yet, as I went through graduate school, it was clear that we know so little about the living animal.
Steady around, eh? Yeah, this way. This way.
When I was 11, I read an article about how the nautilus was becoming an endangered species, and I searched for a few weeks to see if there was any charity or organization trying to protect the nautilus, and I just found nothing. So I decided to email a professor, Dr. Ward at the University of Washington, to see what I could do to help. And he said that they needed more awareness, that a lot of people just didn't know. At that point, I decided that I was going to do something, and with my friend Ridgely Kelly, we created Save the Nautilus to help raise awareness for research and protection for this incredible species.
We're here in Fiji trying to save the nautilus in Fiji, but also the whole Indo-Pacific. And we're trying to survey populations, but instead of just doing one method, we're using several different methods. The first method is using just simple baited traps, which fisheries and fishermen use. The other cool methods are using underwater video cameras to really look at the populations, and not just nautilus populations, but other animals and other organisms in the deep sea. So we're trying to combine all the methods to get the kind of best picture of what they look like today.
It sits on the bottom, and it's going to put out a nice smell from that chicken in the center, and hopefully that'll attract a lot of nautiluses. They will come through this hole and they will eat the chicken for hours and hours and hours, and then we'll pull it up tomorrow morning at about 6 a.m. or so, and some of the nautiluses will still be in here. Some will find their way out, but hopefully enough will still be in here so we can start to look at what this population looks like.
do the Nautilus dance.
Catch him, catch him, catch him, catch him, catch him, catch him.
There you go. Gotta do it.
All right, hula from Savoie.
Voila!
So it is July 19th in Savoie, Fiji. This is going to be our Brubs first night, and we'll be deploying this to 300 meters, picking up tomorrow morning. Anything else to add?
Go win and come back home alive.
All right, see you tomorrow.
Let's sleep better. Slick. Class operation here. All right, make it tight.
We cross our fingers and wait till tomorrow morning to see what's in the traps and what's on the camera. As long as we get it back, that's a good thing.
What I want to do ultimately is get the word out about the Nautilus and get the Nautilus protected and researched. Even scientists don't know that much, and the general population, very few people know anything about the Nautilus.
So this is a chambered nautilus shell, which we found at a market, and they call it the chambered nautilus because it has a bunch of partitions, and actually this one's been broken open. Because they're mollusks, we think of snails and clams which move slowly or at best don't move at all. You know, these things are jet propelled. You can think of a squid, stick a squid body in here and have it squirt around like this, and that's what you have in this beautiful creature. The buoyancy compensator of a nautilus are these chambers. They're filled with air, a gas, and they produce an absolute neutral buoyancy. These things don't sink, they don't float, they are just exactly weightless in the ocean.
You never really know when you're out at sea in different areas. The currents are different, the reefs are different, and there's always that anticipation of, what are the Nautilus going to look like? How are they going to behave? There's kind of that excitement of the unknown. It's still new every single time we do it.
90 meters? It's only 270 feet. All right. We gotta come up from bars right now.
We got a visual.
Any animals?
I don't see anything now.
Yeah, nothing in there.
Battle plans don't work. Research plans, you get out there and nature throws curveballs.
When you see nothing, it's kind of frustrating and disappointing, but from a scientific standpoint, it still is a piece of the whole picture, which is what we're trying to do down there. Or maybe we were in just a little bit of a wrong spot. You never really know, but that's why you just gotta keep trying, and hopefully tomorrow we'll find something in the traps. But the cameras might show something different. So the bait's still on there. It looks like something was chewing on it, and should be something to see on there, and that'll help us understand more.
There were lots of creatures like this. 65 million years ago, the big asteroid came, killed the dinosaurs, but it killed off almost every creature that has shells like this. They made a small comeback, but they're extremely rare. So this sort of body plan, this evolved design of shell, is something that the world has moved past. And so we find them only in a few small places on the planet today. During the age of dinosaurs, we're pretty sure these creatures lived in daylight and fairly shallow water. Some lived in the deep water, but today they only live under darkness. So they've moved down to the very deep water areas.
We see nautilus at 300 meters on the camera. Maybe we set our traps at 300 meters. A lot of changing, a lot of troubleshooting and learning as we go. So it's definitely taken some battle wounds over the time, some scrapes, some eaten away. So this is about 5 years old. It's been all over the Pacific, so it's done its job. This is always the moment of truth to see kind of if it recorded, what's on the camera, and if all this work was worth it. That's not very good. The battery fell off. All right, so we'll turn this on, see how much it recorded. Looks like it recorded 11 hours, so it looks like the battery fell off when we were pulling it up. Jeez. Oh, wow. And then pretty soon we'll kind of look at this and see what's on it. The important part is how we land. And that's a pretty good landing. So it's kind of like landing on the moon, except having less technology to know what the bottom's going to look like because we can't really see it. So we want that flat, sandy bottom so we can kind of see more of what's out there. Now you can see what the bottom really looks like at 300 meters in Savoie. Not a whole lot of anything right now. If we don't see anything, then we'll look at some other locations and see if maybe we survey those sites. Oh, there's something there. Oh, cool. So this is a deep water snapper. See, it's pretty big. Compare that to our bait stick. It's probably a good meter or so. And so, you wonder, did it smell the chicken? Did it see the light? But seeing anything is a good sign that there's stuff down there. So hopefully this is just the first of other cool stuff to come. We're interested in population size, but we're also looking at what's going on with sedimentation in the deep sea and what's coming from all these coastal areas and the rivers that could be impacting not just nautiluses, but the other organisms down there. And it's something that few folks, if any, are really looking at. So really, really cool. The invertebrates down here are just so incredible, and the nautilus is one of the big ones. So it's just a whole unique world. And then we have shrimp sightings that are maybe exciting the first time you see it, but when they stay there for the next 4 hours and screw up our video shot, it's not so exciting. And the shrimp, it's been an hour and it's still covering our camera. It's a really good shot of the shrimp. So we're about 6.5 hours in. There's another little amphipoda. See, now it makes it worth it, right? So all that, the hour of pulling up that rope and the calluses and blisters, and they're all worth it. So there's one nautilus there coming in, and it knows where that chicken is. It's going straight for it, and it's going to dine in on it. And some of them can spend several hours on this one chicken. Those might be the ones that maybe haven't had a meal in a long time. Again, this is the part of the patience kind of pays off
That's the whole excitement of doing this science, this exploration of an area that nobody's really ever been to. So yeah, this is super awesome.
All other cephalopods are carnivores, and the thought that nautilus must be a carnivore as well. But as we began to study them more and more, we found out, in fact, they're scavengers. We've never seen them eat live food. We think they eat dead fish on the bottom, and they certainly eat dead crustaceans. These guys have big beaks, and it looks like a parrot beak. So imagine a parrot or an eagle, and they are capable of breaking even chicken bones. But they can also break fish bones, and they're capable of cracking open crabs and lobsters. So this enormous heavy beak is this huge crunching organ for breaking up their food supplies. They swim backwards, they're jet propelled, they draw water into the shell, goes across the gills, and they blow it out with this tube. So it's really a cool evolutionary twofer. I am breathing and moving with the same energy expenditure.
And that tentacle display is usually a display of it searching for something. So maybe it had its fill, maybe it smells something else that's putting off a better scent. Maybe it smells another nautilus that it wants to go, find out if it's a male or a female, because nautiluses are solitary animals, so they don't really live in groups. So if you find a mate, then you probably want to mate when you can, because it's going to be really hard to find it again. So the nautilus is left. There's still a lot of shrimp, and it's a pretty large fish. It's coming in. It looks kind of like an eel. It's got a strange snout for an eel, but it's definitely smelling our chicken. And this might have been one of the things that took out some chunks of our bait there that we saw. But we got it back. We got nautilus, so yeah. And we got some other cool organisms, so yeah. No complaints on that.
So one of the things we want to study is what eats these. And we're looking at the various types of predators. And we know there are natural predators. There are a number of fish which can bite through the shell. But if we really try to categorize that predator which kills more nautilus than anything else in the world, is we humans. Humans sell the shells. It is this shell trade which is killing off nautilus more than anything else. No other predator in the world probably comes close to what we humans are doing.
The nautilus are being hunted essentially as trinkets. They're hunted in places like the Philippines for mantle decorations, really, nothing more than that.
The animal isn't eaten, it's really just wasted. And because it's so delicate, even fishing a few nautilus can really have big impacts on the population. When you fish hundreds or thousands of them, or as was imported to the US a few years back, 500,000 nautilus, you can see drastic population decline. We've never studied the population here in Savoie before. We think this might be a good, stable population that we can compare other overfished nautilus to see what's a healthy population versus what is unhealthy. People make the mistake of thinking that all nautilus are the same, but oftentimes, especially in a place that's as far out as Fiji, you can find nautilus that are not only their subspecies, but even their own, a whole new species can be out here.
Can we see them coming up yet?
When you're pulling up a trap, you don't necessarily know if it's a nautilus, but you know it's something.
Wait, what's that in the left corner?
Or it's just a chicken. So you get it closer and closer and closer, and we have all these eyes looking at the trap. No, it's exciting.
Oh, yeah, there's one. I see one.
Yay! Good job.
Looks like two nautilus, two of the first nautilus from Savoie that anybody's ever seen alive. So really exciting moment. I'm jumping it right now to take him out of the trap. We'll hand him up.
We'll record some measurements, take photos, and then get them back in there.
We can't keep them long in our world. The water temperature at the surface is so warm it kills them. So we bring them up, we put them in refrigerated water, we spend a few minutes with them.
Here we go. Second ever Savoie Nautilus after this guy.
Okay, so you want to dry your hands? When we catch them, we take a tiny little bit of their flesh and we can get all the information about DNA and their genetics. I take a little tiny bit of shell the size of a sand grain. 3 millimeter black layer. So here we're going to have its diameter. Our modern instruments are so powerful that if I take a tiny bit of this calcareous shell, I can tell you its history of eating. I can tell you the temperature it grew at. Is it a carnivore scavenger? All that stuff from these tiny little bits of shell. Male. We photograph it, we get all the measurements. You don't need to kill them. All right, see you, Greg. Both of those animals were really old. We're looking at 25-year-old animals at least. But I think some of these are 100 years old. They don't die. I mean, they can get killed, but there's no genetic mechanism for aging that we know of. And that's unlike any other cephalopod. And all the rest grow fast, live fast, die quickly. And Nautilus is the opposite. It grows slowly, lives a long time.
We caught 2 nautiluses, which is really, really good. We're able to take measurements, we're able to determine their sex, we're able to learn more about the population here in Savoie that no one else has ever learned about.
It was a good day, very good day. Yes, we did. So we need to increase sample size, so we'll go out a few more days, and we only have 2 DNA samples. We want to get that up to about 10 or so. We'll run the DNA, we'll see how similar or dissimilar are these from New Caledonia, from Samoa, from Vanuatu, from this entire section of the Pacific.
This is the first time I've seen them in 5 years since American Samoa, and it was really cool to just look into the eyes again of this ancient creature. You know, it was like seeing them for the first time all over again for me. Really, they're just so out of this world, a relic of 500 million years. So I could really see that when I looked at them. It was really exciting.
We've seen them on the cameras, we've seen them in the traps in person, so now we're ready to do it again and again and again the next few days and get a good picture of this population here.
Not a lot of people know that this is an endangered species. I think there's something down in the bottom right corner. So that's why we're spreading the word about this incredible animal and the dangers it faces.
They don't become sexually mature until 10, 12, 15 years. When they do become mature, they reproduce and they lay up to 10 eggs. They take a year to hatch. So it's a thing that's really important for conservation. It's just you can't continually fish them and expect them to kind of replenish stocks quickly. They're more like an elephant, like a large mammal in that sense.
Look how tiny this guy is. 132, mature. It's really a small reproductive rate, and they're right on the knife edge of extinction. 1 millimeter black band. This is the littlest nautilus I've ever seen in Fiji. What a tiny little midget. And we've already documented complete extinction of what appeared to be a genetically unique group in the Philippines. This is a population that, should people start trying to get the shells, could be fished out of existence really quickly. All right, let's put this guy back in the water. And we're done.
This is our last day in Savoie. We're gonna go out there today and pick up our trap and our bruvs. I'm hoping to see 1 or 2 nautilus in the trap and maybe some more nautilus on the bruvs, but I think it'll be a good day just if we can get both those traps back.
Looks like it's still alive.
As we keep putting down our traps and our cameras, we learn more and more. Down in the very deep water where these are found, in some places on Earth they're fairly abundant. We're finding in Fiji they're extremely rare. All right, so how many? Four. How many? We got a 3, we got a 4. 1.
I said 1 yesterday.
2.
2, 0.
I said 1.
Might be 1. What's the bait?
Oh, yeah, there's one. I see one. Bright and clear. I don't know if I see a second one yet.
Yeah, we're getting 1 per trap, where we can quite often get a dozen in other places. And their tiny size tells us they're just on the edge of existence here. Say this goes extinct. What are the unintended consequences? There might be some octopus out there which only eats nautilus. So you kill this, you kill it. There are other creatures which eat nautilus, or that nautilus also consumes or affects in some way. I mean, any ecosystem is a house of cards. You keep knocking out cards, it's all going to collapse. It's very interesting. He isn't even mature, so I think this is something entirely different. So I put your finger on it. There we go. Friendship. This particular nautilus is the smallest of its kind we've ever seen. I mean, we've caught baby nautilus that weren't fully grown, but this thing's fully grown. So nowhere in the world have we seen a living animal this small. So this is a new dwarf population. It might be a new species. It's new to science. Okay.
If we continue to engage folks in what this animal is, what it means to the ecosystem, and what it means to the planet, that'll get folks more interested in wanting to care about conservation and nautiluses, but also, the entire ocean and the entire planet in general.
There's still more research that will always make protection efforts stronger. The more research we have to prove that this species really needs protection, the more protection it will get. We still have a lot of work to do, so I don't see myself stopping anytime soon.
In my lifetime, they've gone from this creature, which was very mysterious and we thought to be very abundant, to less mysterious, but way more close to extinction than anybody thought. We don't need this to sit in our bathroom as this beautiful trophy. We don't need it to sit in some bowl that gets dusty and finally goes out to a garage sale. We need to have one of these cultural changes, behavioral changes, that until they happen, we think will never happen. If we are going to have a diverse world with such beautiful creatures in it, so there's so much left to do.